The ice cream melts down my hand as I stare at the bright pink envelope on my kitchen table. My name isn't written on it, but inside are photos of my little cousin Emma's engagement party last weekend. 27 people smiling at fancy tables with white flowers everywhere. My mom is there. My dad too. Even my grumpy Uncle Bob, who never goes anywhere. But not me. I didn't even know there was a party. I throw the sticky spoon in the sink and count the faces again. Everyone I know. Everyone except me. Emma looks so happy in her sparkly dress, holding hands with her boyfriend Jake. There's a big cake with pink roses and balloons tied to every chair. The party was at Grandma's house, the same place where we had Christmas just 3 months ago. I remember Emma asking me about my new job at the flower shop, saying how creative I was with the pretty arrangements. I even gave her my special ribbon that sparkled like diamonds. She said she loved it so much. So, why wasn't I there when she got engaged? My apartment feels really cold, even though the sun is shining through my windows. The same sun that made everyone look so happy in those photos. I sit down hard on my couch and remember what happened at Easter dinner. Aunt Lisa kept talking about how Emma was going to marry a doctor and have a big fancy house. Then she looked at me and said, "Oh, Maya, still working with flowers, I see," like it was something bad. My parents just smiled and nodded when she said Emma was the smart one in the family. Even when I told everyone about my boss saying I was the best flower designer he ever had, they changed the subject back to Emma's fancy boyfriend. When I said I saved enough money to buy my own car, they talked about Emma's new diamond earrings instead. My hands shake as I pick up my phone. I need to call my mom right now. She answers after it rings 4 times. "Maya, honey, what's wrong?" Her voice sounds worried, but also annoyed, like I'm bothering her with something silly. There was an engagement party for Emma yesterday. I try to keep my voice steady. Everyone was there. Why didn't anyone tell me? There's a long, quiet pause. Then my mom sighs really loud. "Oh, that. Well, Lisa thought it would be better without you there. Emma deserved a day that was just about her." The words hit me like someone threw a ball at my face. Better without me? When have I ever made anything about myself? Please don't start, Maya. This is exactly what we wanted to avoid. Emma deserved her special day, without any problems. I stand up straight, feeling angry for the first time. So, I'm a problem now? That's what you think of me? It's nothing personal, Maya. Those same words my mom always uses when she wants me to stop feeling sad. My hand stops shaking. A weird calm feeling comes over me as I realize this wasn't a mistake. They planned this. They talked about it. They decided together. I'm going to call Aunt Lisa. Maya, don't. My mom sounds scared now, but I already hung up the phone. I find Aunt Lisa's number and call her. My heart beats fast, but I feel brave. When she answers, she sounds mean and impatient. I don't waste time being polite. Why wasn't I invited to Emma's engagement party? She pauses. Then she says, "I wondered when you'd call."
No, sorry.
No excuse. Just cold words. You didn't need to be there. Emma deserved a day that was only hers. Only hers. Like me being there would make her day worse. Like I'm a dark cloud that ruins sunny days. I'm her cousin. Her only girl cousin. The words sound empty even when I say them. Being family doesn't seem to matter at all. Listen, Maya. Aunt Lisa's voice gets harder.
We all talked about this.
The wedding plans, too. I think you shouldn't make this bigger than it needs to be. Some people in this family are already upset with you. She's threatening me. If I complain, I might lose my family completely. I stand by my window looking at the city below and suddenly understand something very clearly. My family cares more about looking good than being kind. I hang up without saying goodbye. The quiet in my apartment doesn't feel scary anymore. It feels peaceful. A pretty red bird lands on my balcony and looks at me for a moment before flying away. I wonder what it would feel like to be that free. Later that day, my phone makes a ding sound while I'm making flower arrangements for Mrs. Johnson's birthday party. I almost don't look at it because I have work to do, but I glance at the screen anyway. It's a group message from Aunt Lisa. Remember to bring Emma's wedding flowers on Saturday. Good thing we didn't invite Maya, less drama. My scissors stop cutting the stem. The room spins a little as I hold onto the table. I blink hard and read it again. This wasn't an accident or a simple mistake. They planned to leave me out of everything. I take a picture of the message before it disappears with a soft whoosh sound. Deleted, but I saved it first. The message shows Emma, Aunt Lisa, and my mom all got it.
My own mom knew about this.
The next morning, I drive to my parents' house in the suburbs. The message burns in my pocket like a hot rock. Mom opens the door, wearing her gardening clothes with dirt on her face. Maya, what a nice surprise. I was just about to make some tea. I follow her into the living room, where she sits in her favorite chair. She looks comfortable and safe, like someone who thinks everything is fine. I stay standing and look at all the family photos on the shelf. Emma is in the middle of most of them. I'm hidden in shadows or making weird faces. I got an interesting message yesterday, I say, pulling out my phone. Someone sent it to me by accident. I show her the picture. Her face changes when she sees it, but not surprised. She looks caught. She doesn't even try to say it's not real. We all agreed it would be easier this way, she says, smoothing her pants. Emma deserves a beautiful wedding without complications. Complications? The word tastes nasty in my mouth.
You mean me?
Now, Maya, don't be dramatic. She sighs like, I'm being a baby. Maybe you should make other plans for that day in June. Other plans? I repeat, my voice steady, even though my hands are shaking. While my cousin gets married at the fancy hotel downtown. That expensive wedding where every person I barely know is invited except me? Mom's eyes get wide. How did you know about the hotel? Cousin Sarah called last week asking if I wanted to ride with her to the wedding. A little mean happiness fills me when I see Mom's face get scared. Sarah thought I was invited. The quiet between us feels like a big hole getting bigger and bigger. Your father, and I think it's better this way, she finally says. The whole family agrees. The whole family has been told what about me exactly? I ask, my voice very quiet. She looks away, playing with a loose string on her shirt. Just that you've always been jealous when Emma gets attention. The hurt hits me like someone punched me in the stomach. Years of holidays where I sat quietly while Emma got all the praise. Years of watching my good things get ignored while hers got celebrated with hugs and cheers. You're trying to erase me from our family story, I say, finally understanding. Everyone already thinks I'm difficult because that's what you told them. That's not true, she says, but her eyes won't look at mine. It is true, and now I have to choose. Accept being left out or risk losing my family forever. Mom stands up and walks to the window. I hope you'll make the right choice, she says. Your father and I have been helping you pay for things. If you cause trouble about this wedding, we might stop helping you. If I cause trouble? The words come out in a bitter laugh. Like standing up for myself? Like refusing to disappear? This is exactly why Lisa thought it was best not to include you. Her voice gets mean. Everything becomes a big drama with you. I leave without saying goodbye and drive around for hours. 3 flower orders I was supposed to finish sit unfinished while I sit frozen in my apartment, unable to work on the simplest arrangements. 3 days of money I could have made disappear while I stare at my phone, waiting for someone in my family to say this was all a terrible mistake. Nobody does. That evening, my best friend Zoe brings pizza and soda to my apartment. She listens while I tell her everything that happened. Unlike my family, she doesn't interrupt me or tell me I'm being silly. That's classic mean behavior, she says, opening another soda. They're making you think you're the problem when they're the ones being cruel. Her words feel like drinking water after being thirsty for days. Lisa and your mom are working together to control what everyone thinks about you. Zoe continues. It's like bullies at school who gang up on someone. Later, alone on my balcony, I watch the city lights turn on as it gets dark. The red bird comes back, sitting on the rail for a moment before flying away. As I sit there drinking warm soda, I wonder if I should show up at the wedding anyway and make them face me, or stay away completely and make my own happy day somewhere else. The family I've known my whole life is slipping away like sand through my fingers. But maybe it's worth fighting for people who cause me so much pain? Emma's engagement photos show up on my Instagram at exactly 8:17 in the morning on a Tuesday. I'm drinking my first cup of coffee when her smiling face fills my screen. Her boyfriend looks at her with love, while autumn leaves fall around them like confetti. The words underneath cut deeper than any knife. Celebrating our journey with people who truly support us. Keeping our wedding small with only the people who've always been there. My phone buzzes 3 times really fast. Messages from cousins I hardly ever talk to at family parties. Why are you causing drama during Emma's special time? Family should support each other no matter what. Aunt Lisa is so upset about how you're acting. I put my phone face down on the counter. My hand shakes a little. The mean messages don't make sense until I realize what's happening. They're changing the story, making up a lie where I said no to an invitation instead of admitting they never invited me. My grandmother calls that evening while I'm washing dishes. Her voice sounds disappointed and sad. Maya, sweetie, I never thought you'd refuse to support your cousin's wedding day. The plate in my hands almost falls. Grandma, I wasn't invited. That's not what Lisa told me. Her voice gets hard and sure. She said you couldn't put aside your jealousy for even one day. After we hang up, I stand still at my sink with water running over my hands until it gets cold. The family story about me is being written without me having any say. According to Zoe, who still talks to my mom sometimes, Aunt Lisa has been telling everyone's sad stories about my jealousy problems. The next week, Bloom Garden Store cancels their order for wedding flowers. The email is polite but clear. We heard you can be difficult to work with. We need someone who fits our friendly business style. 3 days later, Party Perfect cancels our meeting for their summer events. Losing both jobs cuts $2,700 from my monthly money. I figure out the connections like solving a puzzle. Bloom Garden's owner plays golf with my uncle. Party Perfect's manager goes to the same church as Aunt Lisa. Sleep becomes impossible. I spend nights hunched over my computer, making my flower portfolio website prettier instead of resting. Every color change, every new photo feels like taking back a small piece of my story. At 3 a.m, with my eyes burning from the computer screen, I wonder how many pretty flower arrangements it will take to outrun the mean whispers. My normal daily routine breaks apart. I stop going to Sweet Dreams Cafe, even though they make my favorite hot chocolate because Aunt Lisa's book club meets there on Tuesday mornings. I drive 15 minutes out of my way to shop at a different grocery store after seeing my mom's friend Carol looking at apples in my usual spot. Checking social media becomes like hurting myself on purpose. Every notification makes my heart beat fast, and my hands get cold. I start writing down every conversation with my family in a pretty notebook, recording dates, exact words, and who else was there. The proof feels important somehow, though I'm not sure who I'm collecting it for. The anonymous text comes on a Sunday morning. Some people aren't stable enough for fancy events. Your absence is a gift to everyone. I recognize the mean words wrapped up to sound caring. That's Aunt Lisa's special way of being cruel. My phone slips from my fingers onto the couch as something inside me finally breaks. The doorbell rings at that exact moment. I think about not answering until I hear Zoe's voice through the door.
I know you're home, Maya.
I brought Chinese food and wedding magazines. She stands at my door holding a paper bag from Golden Dragon Restaurant and a stack of shiny magazines. Her camera hangs from her shoulder. What are you doing here? My voice sounds empty even to me. Zoe pushes past me into my apartment. Let's plan something that's actually worth celebrating. A day that's about joy, not showing off. I'm about to ask what she means when my mother's silver car pulls into the parking space I can see from my living room window. My stomach feels sick. I have a work call in 5 minutes, I lie, reaching for my laptop as my mom knocks at the door. Zoe squeezes my shoulder before going to the kitchen with our food. My mom comes in without waiting for me to say okay. Her eyes look around my apartment like she's searching for proof that I'm unstable.
We need to talk, Maya.
She sits stiffly on my couch with her purse on her lap. This has gone too far. The invitations are already printed. We need to stop this. What invitations? I stay standing, suddenly aware of how power works between us. Emma's wedding invitations. She smooths a wrinkle from her skirt. You need to let this go. This isn't about an invitation, I say, and my voice sounds clearer than I expected. It's about years of being treated like I don't matter. Maya, my mom's face gets hard. If you can't support Emma's happiness, maybe you're not the daughter I thought you were. The words should hurt, but instead they show me something I've never seen clearly before. I stand up tall, taking up all the space I've spent years making smaller around my family. I'm exactly the daughter you raised, I tell her, my voice steady. I just stopped accepting the mean role you gave me. Something flickers across her face, maybe surprise, maybe even respect, before she puts on her normal face again. But in that moment, I realize something important that changes everything. My worth isn't decided by whether my family likes me. It never was. Later that evening, Zoe and I sit on my balcony with half-eaten Chinese food between us. She scrolls through her phone calendar. I have a photo shoot at the beach in 3 weeks. Come with me. We'll make it a fun work trip. I could use help carrying my camera stuff. The offer brings surprised tears to my eyes. While my family makes excuses for leaving me out, my friends are finding ways to include me. My phone dings with a text from my coworker Ben. Just said no to Emma's wedding invite. Not going somewhere my friend isn't welcome. The next morning, I wake up and talk confidently about my flower business during a breakfast meeting for small business owners. It's the first time in months I haven't felt ashamed. 3 people want to hire me for their events. Something has changed inside me, a quiet confidence replacing my desperate need for approval. When Zoe and I get to the beach 3 weeks later, the ocean stretches in front of us like endless possibilities. At a small bookstore near the water, I meet David, the owner with kind eyes and a quiet laugh who asks smart questions about my flower work. You should see my place at sunset, he says after our 3rd coffee together. I fixed up an old beach house just north of here. The light is perfect for someone with your eye for beauty. Standing on his deck that evening, watching the sun disappear into the ocean, a thought forms with unexpected clarity. What if the answer isn't fighting to be included in a celebration that doesn't want me? What if I wrote a completely different story for myself? 2 months later, my phone sits on David's kitchen counter showing a half-finished invitation I'm designing. The beach house's morning light comes through tall windows, lighting up the space where 18 people will soon sit at tables for the only people who truly matter in my life. What do you think about these colors? I point to the screen where soft blue mixes with sandy brown letters. Too boring? David leans closer, smelling like coffee and ocean air. It feels like you, confident but not screaming for attention. I smile, making a small change to how the letters look. For 3 weeks, every free moment has gone into planning this gathering. Not a reaction to family drama, but a celebration showing who I've become. Each detail from hand-pressed flower prints to custom playlists shows off my professional skills while honoring real friendships. June 20th, I say, tracing the date on the screen. Far enough from Emma's wedding that nobody can say I'm being competitive.
Does it matter what they think?
David asks, his voice gentle but challenging. It matters that I know my reasons are good, I say, saving the file and closing my laptop. This isn't about them anymore. For the first time since finding those engagement party photos, excitement bubbles up without the bitter taste of rejection. I'm creating instead of reacting, building something real instead of fighting for space where I'm not wanted. My phone rings with Aunt Lisa's name on the screen. I think about not answering, then decide I'm done hiding. Hello? My voice comes out steady and professional. Maya, her voice could freeze water. What's this I hear about you planning some vacation during family wedding season? You need to take down those social media posts right now. I frown, confused instead of scared. What posts? Zoe's photography page. The save the date for your event. At a beach house? On June 20th? My stomach drops like a rock. June 20th? But Emma's wedding isn't until July. Silence stretches between us like a tightrope. When Lisa speaks again, her voice drips with fake sweetness. Oh, didn't you know? The date got moved weeks ago. June 20th at the Grand Palace Hotel. Everyone's been told. Everyone except me. So you're having your little party the same day as Emma's wedding? The accusation hangs in the air like smoke. Family will have to choose sides, Maya. Think about what you're doing. My first feeling is panic. Should I change my date? Say sorry for a conflict I didn't create? But as Lisa continues listing reasons I should change my plans, something gets hard inside me. I look at my invitation design, at David washing coffee mugs in the sink, at the home that welcomed me, without conditions. I won't rearrange my happiness to make room for your judgment, I say quietly. What did you just say to me? The date stays, Aunt Lisa. Anyone who wants to come to either event should follow their heart. You've made yours very clear. I end the call before she can respond. David watches me carefully, waiting. Apparently Emma's wedding is the same day as our celebration, I tell him. Total accident. Do you want to change our date? The question hangs between us like a bridge. With both parties now planned for the same day, I have a choice. Move my celebration to avoid conflict, or go ahead with the day David and I had planned. Is keeping peace with people who excluded me worth messing up my own happiness? No, I answer finally. We're keeping our date. David nods, understanding without needing explanation. This is the difference between chosen family and blood relatives. One requires pretending, the other offers acceptance. Later that afternoon, my phone buzzes with Zoe's message. Saw your final invitation design. Gorgeous. Consider photography services. My wedding gift to you both. I smile, typing back my thanks. Within minutes, a group chat starts with friends coordinating travel plans, turning our gathering into a weekend celebration. Ben offers to handle music selection, while my coworker Amy wants to arrange flowers from local markets. You focus on the creative stuff, David says that evening, showing me spreadsheets tracking rooms and transportation. I've got the practical things covered. As we work side by side, him managing details, me designing personal touches, I realize we're creating something neither of my parents would understand. This isn't about reaction, but intention. Not about competition, but completion. My phone starts buzzing constantly with family messages, but friends create a protective shield. When Aunt Lisa sends a long paragraph about selfish choices, Zoe responds with beach house photos. When my mother texts asking how I could do this, David hands me color samples for table decorations. A week before our celebration, an unexpected text comes from my cousin Rachel, who I haven't talked to in months. Grandmother's asking questions about why you weren't invited to anything. Lisa's story isn't making sense anymore. I read it twice, not sure how to respond. The next day, another message comes, this time from Uncle Bob. Something doesn't add up about this wedding drama. Emma keeps changing her explanation. The family story, so carefully built, starts showing cracks. Different relatives have been told different versions of why I was left out, and the lies are becoming obvious. When my grandmother's name shows up on my phone that evening, I answer right away. Maya? Her voice sounds smaller than I remember. I'd like to hear your side of this wedding business. Before I can answer, another call beeps through from my mother. I let it go to voicemail, focusing on my grandmother's questions. Later I listened to my mother's message, her voice tight with forced casualness. We need to talk about finding a middle ground. Can we meet tomorrow? It's urgent. I put the phone down, looking out at the sunset, painting David's garden in gold light. For the first time, thinking about facing my family doesn't fill me with fear. Whatever comes next, I'm standing on solid ground. The knock on my door comes at 8:15 on a Tuesday morning, 3 days before my ceremony. Through the peephole, I see my mother clutching her purse with white knuckles while Aunt Lisa stands beside her, designer handbag gripped tight. I think about pretending I'm not home, but the truth needs dealing with eventually. Maya, sweetheart, my mother's voice carries forced cheer as she steps into my apartment. We thought we should talk. Aunt Lisa follows, her gaze sweeping critically across my living room where design samples for my ceremony with David lie neatly arranged on my coffee table. This has gone far enough, she says, not bothering with politeness. I stay standing while they sit on my sofa. The power balance feels different now. In their presence, I no longer make myself small. We'd like to suggest a compromise, my mother says, hands playing with her wedding ring. You can come to Emma's reception, the evening part only, if you cancel your party. Think about how this looks to everyone, Aunt Lisa adds. 2 events on the same day splits the family, forces people to pick sides. My mother leans forward, voice dropping. Your grandmother is very stressed about this situation. At her age, this kind of family fighting isn't good for her health. The manipulation is so obvious, it almost makes me laugh. Instead, I walk to my art table and come back with a leather folder. I'd like to show you something, I say, opening it to reveal watercolor sketches of an intimate beach ceremony. This is what David and I have planned. 18 guests, no fancy invitations, just people who genuinely care about us. I turn pages slowly, showing menus I've hand-lettered, custom place settings, flower arrangements in shades of blue and yellow. The date was set weeks before I learned about Emma's wedding, I explain, voice steady. We didn't choose it to compete. We chose it because the beach house has perfect sunset lighting for photos. My mother's forehead wrinkles in confusion. But why didn't you tell us? I pull out another folder containing mock-ups of elegantly designed invitations I never sent. I respected your decision to exclude me, I say simply. I didn't think you'd want to know. She looks genuinely shocked. Maya, we never meant. I'm not asking anyone to choose. I interrupt gently. You made your choice months ago. This celebration isn't about Emma. I close the folder. It isn't even about you. Aunt Lisa stands up quickly, pacing toward my wall, where client projects hang alongside ceremony plans. This doesn't change anything, she insists. Playing house won't change that Emma's wedding is the real event. I feel something snap inside me, not in anger but in clarity. I'm not playing anything, Aunt Lisa. I'm living honestly while you're pretending. I gesture toward my folder. These designs aren't make-believe.
They're my job.
The job you've called that little flower hobby for years. I slide a business card across the coffee table. This is my wedding portfolio. 3 big companies have hired me based on these designs. While you were telling everyone about my jealousy problems, I was building a business that pays for this apartment. My mother sinks deeper into the sofa, eyes stopping on a photo of David and me at his beach house. For the first time, she seems to see beyond her sister's story. Were we really that mean? She asks quietly. Aunt Lisa snorts, grabbing her purse. This is ridiculous. I'm not sitting here while she twists everything around. She storms toward the door, but stops with her hand on the handle. Emma's wedding costs $95,000. It's at the Grand Palace. There will be 200 guests. That's what a real celebration looks like. I smile, not unkindly. That sounds lovely for Emma. I hope she feels truly seen there. After Lisa slams the door, my mother stays seated, looking smaller than I've ever seen her. You taught me I wasn't worth including, I tell her, voice soft but firm. I taught myself I was worth celebrating. She opens her mouth to respond, but her phone chimes with a text. She reads it, face getting pale. What is it? I ask. Your cousin Rachel is asking if she can come to your ceremony instead of Emma's. She looks up confused. How does she even know about it? I shrug. People talk. The same way they talked about excluding me. After my mother leaves, promising to think about everything, I water my balcony garden, wondering which ceremony she'll attend, if any. My phone rings just as the sun slips behind downtown buildings. Maya? David's voice sounds excited. You won't believe this. That wedding blog I told you about, Beach Celebrations, they want to feature our ceremony. They love the idea of a small designer's wedding that focuses on authenticity over showing off. I lean against the railing, watching a red bird land nearby, the same bright red as the one I'd seen the day I discovered the engagement party photos. The story was changing in ways I never expected. I whisper more to myself than to David. For the first time since this all began, I feel neither sad nor angry, just free. 7 weeks after our ceremony, I nearly drop my phone when David shows me the numbers. 80,000 likes on our wedding photo. The number seems impossible, yet there it is on the screen, along with hundreds of comments praising our authentic celebration of love. Look at this one, David says, pointing to a comment from a popular design blogger. Maya's attention to meaningful details rather than empty showing off redefines what a modern ceremony can be. I laugh softly, remembering all the family gatherings where I sat quietly while relatives praised Emma's conventional choices. Now strangers are celebrating my vision while my family's grand hotel wedding has faded into social media's background. My flower business calendar now overflows with appointments. 3 major companies have reached out since the wedding feature went viral, tripling my client base overnight. Yesterday, an editor from Pacific Wedding Quarterly emailed about featuring our ceremony, specifically requesting an interview about my design work. The irony? I tell David as we sit on our balcony watching the sunset paint the city skyline. They excluded me to keep me from stealing focus.
And now?
The doorbell interrupts my thought. A delivery person brings a cream-colored envelope with Aunt Lisa's distinctive handwriting. Inside, a harsh letter demands I decline the magazine feature, out of respect for Emma's privacy during this difficult time. My hands should be shaking. 7 weeks ago, they would have been. Instead, a calm clarity washes over me as I tuck the letter back into its envelope. "What will you do?" David asks, his voice gentle. I walk to my desk and pull out a copy of the magazine that featured my design portfolio last month. I slip it into a mailing envelope with a note I've written without hesitation. I'm not competing with Emma. I'm completing my own story. No anxiety floods my system as I seal the envelope. No desperate need for approval tightens my chest. The change still surprises me, how completely I've stopped seeking validation from people determined to withhold it. 2 days later, Zoe calls with news that sends me spinning through our apartment. The showcase is confirmed, she announces. 30 designers, and you're the featured artist. My friends have organized a design showcase at a restored mansion near the coast, featuring artists who've reimagined traditional approaches. The event emphasizes authentic connection over manufactured perfection, substance over performance. At the opening reception, Zoe raises her glass. To writing ourselves into stories worthy of our lives, she toasts, and the room erupts in applause. I stand among people who celebrate rather than diminish my vision, and the contrast to family gatherings couldn't be starker. The following month, David and I move into a cozy cottage overlooking downtown. The space is smaller than my apartment, but filled with light and possibilities. My calendar now includes speaking engagements about authentic design alongside client meetings with companies that value substance over flash. I'm hanging prints in my office when the doorbell rings. When I open it, Aunt Lisa stands there with Emma slightly behind her, looking uncomfortable. "We need to talk," Lisa says, pushing past me into the cottage. "This has gone far enough." Emma looks awkward as Lisa continues. "Was all this necessary? The magazine? The showcase? Were you so determined to make a point?" I study their faces, feeling a surprising wave of compassion. "You think this is about you?" I ask quietly. "It's the first time I've celebrated without worrying how you'd twist it. That's all." They leave shortly after, Lisa stiff-backed and silent, Emma with a backward glance I can't quite read. As I watched them walk away, I wondered if healing family wounds requires both sides to acknowledge the hurt, or if sometimes the healthiest path is to simply tend your own garden and let others make their choice. What would you do? Work to repair relationships that cause such pain, or focus on nurturing the connections that helped you bloom?